Hey Thrivers, you're listening to episode number 23. You might need to listen to this episode on slow-mo because today we're joined by fellow mom and fast talker, Sheena Sheffel. Sheena is a great friend of ours and a natural leader. From mom's group to PTO meetings, juggling her 4 kids and her job as a university supervisor, this lady lives by her calendar and does it well.
She's here to share with us today about the importance of community, how her experience as an inner city kindergarten teacher has impacted her parenting style, and how she juggles it all.
Whether you're a mom or you simply need some advice when it comes to balancing work, life, and family, this episode is for you.
Welcome to The Thrive, a podcast for working moms. This is for all the women and moms listening. If you work from home, in an office, run your own business, or are the CEO of your family, this podcast is for you. Because at the end of the day, all moms are working moms. Rachel and Christine invite you to celebrate the victories, get advice, listen to their mom fails, and to know you aren't alone, to thrive in your everyday life.
Hey guys, it's Rachel
And Christine.
and Sheena. We are so excited to have a friend with us who is a guest here on our show tonight, but also just a great mom, an awesome woman who is involved in so many different things. And I feel like a lot of the things you're part of are just things that help others. Like she just has this heart for community. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And we're just so thankful that you're able to come out and hang with us.
So welcome, Sheena Sheffel.
That was really good.
Is that right?
That is. That's perfect. That's perfect.
We were practicing earlier. Sheena Sheffel.
Yes.
Every day she's shuffling.
So I'll just say how I know Sheena because I'm newer to the scene here. So when I joined Mom's Group, which we've talked about before, last fall, Sheena was the person in charge. And I don't think initially I realized who you were. You're a big deal. But I was just like, oh, this lovely lady Sheena is emailing about Mom's Group. And I feel like you greeted me as soon as I got there. I didn't know anybody. And you were so welcoming. And I remember when you said hi to me or told me where to go. And you probably had a name tag on when I saw you were Sheena. I was like, oh my gosh, you're the Sheena. But you were just like so loving and welcoming. Like I thought you would have been running around organizing the show.
Yeah.
So that's how I met you.
No, I feel like you're always, even if you don't seem it, like inside, you never really let it show if something is frazzling you because you are very good at staying calm and collected. For instance, one of the things that we did with Mom's Group this year was a mom prom.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that there was a huge debacle with the food situation. And I just assumed we were going to dance and then eat later. And then I found out that actually Main Street Cafe didn't get our order or something and just didn't even have our food. So Sheena just threw together, got it together, ordered Olive Garden catering.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. She had to have somebody help set it up. But from outsider's perspective, I never even would have known. I thought it was a little weird that we were dancing first and then eating second. But I was like, oh, maybe I was wrong and it's not a whole meal. Maybe it's just snacks. That makes sense. Dance and then snacks? I don't know.
You probably have to do a lot of juggling of schedules in your life.
Yeah.
So Sheena, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Sheena Sheffel, as Christine mentioned. And yes, I am married to an amazing man named Ben. And I have 4 children. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. 2 boys and 2 girls. So that keeps me busy, and I'm involved in just a couple other things. I like both the girls.
Things.
I know. It is. I am a stay-at-home mom who's never at home.
A couple things is I go to the gym on Tuesday mornings and then a play date Friday afternoon.
I probably should go to the gym on Tuesday morning.
Not just a couple things. So what all are you involved with?
So as the girls mentioned, I coordinate the moms group at the worship center, which is kind of like a MOPS group. And I also work for Millersville University as a university supervisor. I also help with my children's PTO. And I'm laughing because when I roll out the whole list, it sounds really long.
Yep, there's more.
I lead a small group through our Church of Young Moms. I also am the team leader for a group of small groups. And I help with the help with a community group in our community by scheduling a building that people rent.
And when you're not doing
Grace?
all of that.
Kind of, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. And yeah, then when I'm not doing all of that, I am supposed to be doing motherly
Mom life.
things like laundry and making dinner and all of that kind of stuff. So yes,
Girl,
I do.
You are in it.
I do. But I like being involved. I really do. I like being involved. I like working with people. I like encouraging people in this phase of life and in this phase of mothering. And
Oh, it's okay. So yeah,
Just telling Sheena not to tap her nails.
unless you're telling us that you just got the manicure that we did, because then your nails make noise. But
True life behind the scenes.
no,
maybe you should put gloves on me. Gloves on me. I'm
Sheena
such
is a hand
fidgeter.
talker.
I am such a hand talker.
Okay.
It's totally fine.
You're all right.
I'll sit on them.
No worries. Okay, so do you remember where you were?
I want to
Yeah,
know, you're involved in a lot of things. How do you select, because I'm sure that you get asked to be part of stuff because people know that you're good at planning and they know that you enjoy doing that kind of thing. So how do you decide when something is too much? How do you figure out what are the things that I'm going to do and what are the things I can't commit to?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what I try really hard to do, and I'm not always very good at it, I'm a very good yes person. So I'm very good at telling people yes for things because I like that. I like being able to, I like feeling like I'm helping someone. I like filling a void. I like, I just like pitching in how I'm supposed to, I feel like I'm supposed to pitch in. So I feel like I try really hard to make sure my yeses are my best yeses. And honestly, I pray a lot about it. I talk to, a lot of things have to filter through my husband. Not he gives me permission, because we definitely don't, I don't have that personality, so he does not. He gives me permission. But a lot of things I do, I'm able to do because he helps in some way, shape, and form.
Right.
So whether that means he comes home by a certain time to be with the kids, or whether that means a lot of times that's what it is. I need him to be home by a certain time so I can get to a certain meeting.
Right.
Or whether that means him going in late, from mom's group.
Didn't he ask off work when we were short childcare one time?
He
and
did.
He legitimately came and worked childcare for mom's
He
group?
did.
That's a good man.
He really is great.
is.
There's a lot of times I don't know if I fully deserve him, but he is. He's really great. He took the day off because I was short for childcare workers for mom's group, and we weren't going to be able to have the first meeting. So he came as he came and worked in the nursery. So we
Thank you, Ben, because Ben is listening.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks,
That's awesome. I want to know if you were always this person that you are now, but even when you were younger, did you love to be involved in clubs and be around people, or is that a newer thing?
That's a good
No,
question.
I mean I definitely have the type of personality that I am energized by being with people.
Okay.
I definitely am. So even in the summer when my kids have off and I spend more time at home and I don't have as many commitments, I find it to be hard that I'm not running, because I thrive off of that. I thrive off of being busy. I thrive off of seeing people and talking to people. So I think I always have been. I've always had this personality. So in high school, I was involved in a lot of things. I don't think I was involved in as much in college because I was too busy being really social.
Yeah, that's
So
important.
I was really good at that. And but actually,
I know what you mean.
I think I've become more involved in this phase of my life, actually, because my kids are in things and involved in things. So something I didn't mention, I also help with the preschool that my children go to. I'm the chair of the board.
Are you sure you're not
for that.
the director and
So you
also
help
a
with
teacher?
the PTO and the preschool, or is it two separate things?
It's two separate things.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, see, I gotta
So-
tell my husband all the things on your list because
Yeah.
he thinks I'm busy.
Yeah, no, it's pretty terrible. No, so I find that in this part of life, I'm involved in a lot of things because I get involved in things that my kids are a part of.
Yeah.
And I just have a passion for that aspect. I want the things my kids are in. I mean, don't we all as moms want the
Yeah.
things that our kids are in to be good, valuable things. And we want to make sure that, you know, whatever they're a part of, it's just something that's good for them and good for other people.
Yeah.
So a lot of things, I mean, as I rattled off my list, almost all of the things I'm involved in really are because I'm a mom, you know? Like, I'm involved in the PTO because I have kids in the school district now, and I just want to see that part of the school district do really well. And I used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
I used to be a teacher, so I'm
You
on
can
the
get it from
other,
that angle.
Yes, I'm on the other side of that, and so there's really only like 2 things in my list that I do that aren't because I'm a mom. Yeah. And some things kind of have just like boiled over. So I started with mom's group, and then with that I started with a small group for moms, and so things have kind of just trickled. But yes, to answer your question with a really long answer, yes, I think I have always been this crazy.
So, like, what did you do when you were in high school? Were you in the band?
I was.
What did you play?
I didn't play. I didn't play an instrument. No.
Were you like a color guard girl?
I was. I
Right,
twirled.
so maybe later you'll show us.
I twirled rifle for most of the time I was in high
Which
school.
isn't that a weird thing that we use like a
Twirling
rifle
rifles.
to twirl? Because
It is a
I was
little
watching.
odd.
We
I always
Isn't it
like the
weird?
noises that they made. They have like those
Isn't
cool
it weird?
noises.
And I still have one. I should have brought it
next time.
Find our Instagram,
with
guys.
our scrunchie.
Sheena will be wearing a scrunchie and doing her rifle
Now
twirling.
I sadly cannot be in mom's group this year because I will go back to my full-time job. But I feel like this might be important for the first mom's group get together. I'm just putting it out there.
For me to do.
Sheena
For me to do. It would be really
Maybe
funny.
instead of a mom prom, next year we should have like a mom talent show.
That
And
would be really
could
cool.
be your talent.
That would be, but that would be really cool to
That would
see
be
all
so
these
fun.
throwback talents of like all like what are all these moms
I have my
having?
clarinet, and I might
Were you
have
in the band?
yes, and I might
The
have
marching
just
band?
recently ordered new reeds so
No
I
way.
could play. Yes.
That's awesome.
Robert had a video up on Instagram of me playing, and I'm just gonna say, like, I was pretty good for not playing the last 12 years.
I feel like I should see this
It
video.
was fierce.
I
need
kind
to
of wish I
find it.
still had mine, but I wasn't that good.
So were you in the marching band?
we both played the clarinet.
Yeah.
Aww.
I
so
also played
weird.
the tenor sax in jazz band. We had a
course
really
you did.
good jazz band.
Oh my gosh, I had
Yeah.
a friend, I didn't play it, I just pretended. But I had a friend in high school.
We all do weird things.
She played the soprano sax, which is very similar to a clarinet, just bigger.
Kenny G,
And so
little.
sometimes just to like throw off our band instructor, we would like switch places and I would like pretend to play her instrument and she would pretend to play mine.
Perfect.
Wild.
Some of the fingerings and stuff, like some of it was the same, but
Yeah.
it was a different instrument. And then he would like make us switch back.
You need to use a different embouchure, the way your mouth is on the instrument.
Yeah, my mouth would get
There
really
you go.
tired if I tried
Free
it now.
information for you.
I didn't even pay for that.
Okay,
It's
so when I was
amazing.
in jazz band, so oh my gosh, tangent. No,
Tangent.
they were really good. I was not good. The rest of them were good. But I usually would play a clarinet, which when you hold it in your mouth, it has to be like a tighter hold just because it's a smaller instrument. So when I would go to do the saxophone, I would do the same thing, and it would always make me either sharp or flat. I can't remember. Let's say flat. And my friend played the sax next to me, and he was really good. And I remember one time he actually said to me, "Are you trying to be that flat?" And I was like, "Yes, Andrew, I am trying to sound this awful." And I'm a nerd. I wrote down like all through jazz band all the funny things that everybody said. Just because, and at the end of jazz band, like made a whole book for everybody of all the funny things.
Aw, you're so cute.
That's so weird.
No,
No,
it was
it's
probably
high
so cool at the
schooler.
time.
Yeah, it was
So
great.
Everyone
cool.
probably thought it was really funny.
Ugh.
And you wore
Yeah.
your scrunchies while you were doing it. So
I don't even think scrunchies were cool then. Maybe when I was in middle school, but
my
they're
gosh.
coming back around.
you are, and you're bringing it. You're bringing it back.
If
You're
you have
bringing it
no
back.
clue why we're
Yes.
talking about
Yes.
scrunchies, you need to watch our Facebook Live. Before each of our episodes, we record a 15, 20-minute long Facebook Live to just talk life, answer some questions, and introduce you to who our guests will be for the next week. Because we did it tonight with Sheena, but you guys won't actually be listening to this. If you're listening now, it's probably been about a week. So follow our Facebook page to get like a little preview and to see why we're talking about scrunchies. You'll get to see Christine model her latest scrunchie.
It's really cool, guys. It's really cool.
It's amazing.
So you were in the band.
Oh.
Yeah.
She was a rifle twirler.
When you said you were involved in things in high school, I just had a feeling that there was some kind of musical
Like I was in like
connection.
National Honor Society, and I
Of
was
course.
the editor of the yearbook.
Yep.
And
Oh, I loved yearbook. It was my favorite.
yeah.
Keep going. This is a long list, I'm sure.
And I worked.
Where
Like
did
I
you work?
waitressed. Well, I like hosted.
Hosted.
You hosted.
Hosted at Haas's Steak and Sea House.
Sheena Sheffel hosted at
I
Haas's.
did. And then I waitressed there. So I was
Okay.
always
Say that
doing
10
something.
times fast.
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm a mouthful. Sheena Sheffel.
I love it.
It's a mouthful.
It's perfect.
But I feel like if you ever did, have you ever taken like the Enneagram or like a personality
Yes.
test?
Yes.
What is your number?
I am a...
I've been listening to the podcast.
The Enneagram one?
Well, and the first thing
With
they
Ian
said,
Cron?
they said, don't tell people what number they are. And this was
Why?
after I just left all of you, and you all told me. Probably because they want people to figure out for themselves, like, where they fit without having somebody else
I was trying not
influence.
to tell you. I was just saying, oh, I could see that in you.
A 7?
Oh,
Yeah.
like don't
Mara,
tell
I think Mara
somebody
was the one that was
else.
like, you're such a 7.
Yeah.
Don't
that's
tell
okay.
somebody else what you are.
Yeah, sorry.
Right?
You don't want to define
What
them.
they are.
Yes.
Right,
But we
right,
would love to
right.
know what you
yeah.
are.
No, I'm
share with
finding
us.
it because the first time I did it,
Oh, look at you.
I was a 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I also made Ben do it, and he was a 2. And there's no way that we are the same. There's no way. We are such... I mean, we work well because we are not the same type of person. And I just kept thinking we can't possibly both be type 2, like the number 2. So I did like the Myers-Briggs to remember what I was for that. Because like in the one I did, you could put that in there, and it changed me. It changed me. So now I am a 7, and 7 fits me better.
That's what they all think I am.
You didn't take it yet?
I think
There's a short one.
No, I think I did, and it might have said 8. But I'm listening
that's
to
like
the podcast.
That's like
to figure-
the warrior, like.
I thought you were going to say the worst.
That's a little.
That can be
little
intense.
I have a wing
I don't
too.
think, though.
So I don't remember what they all are. I just remember what mine
So
was.
we had mentioned this, I think, a few podcasts about the Enneagram. For those of you that may not know, I think originally when we had Mara Clemens from More Space on, because she was big in the Enneagram, and it's an assessment or
Personality.
but they didn't want to call it a test, but there's great podcasts that talk about each number and define it, and just to help people maybe be more aware of their strengths, maybe even when they're being in their weakness, like where they lie, to figure out how to help.
Yeah, I
in
think
those
the
times.
difference compared to like your typical personality test is that it kind of tells you like, okay, this is what you typically are, but it's all kind of in like this, there's 9 of them. So it's in like this circle of 9 things. And it'll tell you like when you're at your best, you're this plus this. And when you're at your worst, you tend to take on like the negative tendencies of this number. So it just is a little more, I don't know, a little more in depth, but there's a lot of books about it too. Like you can find books about, you know, the Enneagram for adults. And then it's also interesting. We have like the Love Language of Children book, and you can get like Enneagram for children. So
interesting.
also a tangent, but it's interesting to know that about people, because sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, now I know why like they never get back to me. It's not because they don't like me. It's because they're a 7.
Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, it's just part of their personality. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I am just such a fan of things like that help me understand myself. And I feel like if Robert and I are talking about it, it just brings up maybe even things from before we even knew each other that are a part of who we are, to better understand each other, which I'm always a fan of.
Yeah, I definitely think that if you're in like a relationship with somebody, whether it's romantic or if it's a family member, anyone you're close with, it's good to know like, okay, maybe I'm having issues communicating with them. Or if it's your kids, like maybe you're just having issues with like disciplining them. And it's good to know like, oh, well, this is the things that really drive them. And these are the things that like they're just naturally not as good at or not as intuitive about. I don't know. So yeah, check it out.
And so, Sheena, I want to go back to like your busyness. But my question for you, just because I'm entering into the season of being back at work, and maybe that's even why I've been thinking more about this Enneagram too, because I'm like, I need to better understand myself so I can just go forward, be more successful, and manage everything. How do you like tackle having all this stuff on your plate and juggling your family, your kids, your husband, your friends? Like, what is your advice? Tell me how you handle it.
I feel like we were talking before this, you've been married a little bit longer than we have. When we say a little bit, a lot longer. I mean,
I'm getting
just
old.
because we haven't been married that long. And I feel like your kids are also a few years older. So you're like a veteran mom. How do you juggle it?
I live and die by my calendar. I really do. I know it sounds like kind of really dumb, but I live and die by my calendar on my phone, and I color code all the different things. So mom's group on my calendar is one color. My boys' school stuff is another color. My daughter's preschool stuff is another color. When my husband goes away for work, that's a different color. So I color code, and I even add things on my calendar. Like you were saying, how do you manage like not just being a mom and being a wife, but being a friend? So when I want to do something towards someone, I put it on my calendar to remember. And it almost kind of sounds not as genuine, but it's really the opposite of that.
It sounds smart.
Well, I used to just be able to remember all those kinds of things, like, oh, Christine is going back to school on this day, and that's probably going to be a really tough day because she's going to be leaving Nora. And so those kinds of things, when I really want to make sure I remember those aspects for someone, I put it on my calendar so that when I check my calendar that day, I see, oh, this is when Christine's going back to school, and I can shoot you a quick text and say like, hey, I'm just praying for you today. And from your end, it feels like, wow, she really remembered that this is a hard day for me. And from my end, I feel like I was able to be a good friend to you because I was able to do that. But I wasn't just depending on like my own aspect. So I do that.
That's so good. That's just kind of an aspect of being intentional. If you realize that you're busy, but that's important to you, because I feel like you are a really good friend, and I always appreciate that, like, you are so good at just remembering those things. Like, it's cool to know, like, oh, well, that's how she does it.
That's so smart.
One of the things, this is also a little bit of a tangent, but it's a compliment to Sheena. When I was in a small group with her, we had somebody in our small group that had actually lost a child, which is a terrible thing to have happen. But I was just amazed at how Sheena was like, nope, we're going to do this. We're all going to rally. We're going to support her. And for like the entire summer, you made sure that this friend of ours was like taken care of, and you really headed up like, we're going to check in on her. Like, we're going to send her cards. Even if you can't stop by, like, we're going to be intentional about it. And I just felt like that was such a good example to me, to just be there for people in that way. Like, I hadn't ever really thought of it like thinking and planning it that far in advance. Right. But
because I think there's a part of it that can almost start to feel like, well, gosh, am I not being as genuine? Because that's the other thing is I love having relationships, and I love being in community and relationships with people, but I also want it to feel like on the other end, like I want you to feel like I care about you in a genuine way, not just because I'm supposed to care about you. And I feel like, though, so often we think, well, gosh, if I plan it or if I think too far ahead, then I'm not being very genuine. But the reality is life is busy. And like before I realize it, it's the end of a week. And, that person is a week past that tough thing that they went through. And I've just learned that if I am just more specific to think ahead, like, no, I really want to do that. Like, I want to make sure. I just sent out cards to all the leadership team for Mom's Group, and I put it on my calendar to send out the card to everybody. Not because it wasn't something important to me, but the opposite. Because it was important and I wanted to make sure I did it, I made sure to put it on my calendar.
I would never see that as being disingenuine. I think that's the opposite of it, because you're setting yourself up to be in a good position, not just, oh, I hope I remember. And I'm sure we all feel this way during our busy times where like your brain just doesn't shut off. Or like at night,
sometimes it seems that way. I can't turn the voices off.
But like at night, I just sometimes can't sleep because I'm thinking of something. So to be able to put it somewhere and know it's always right there, there you can just relax a little bit because it's taken care of and it's planned.
Well, and I'm a planner. So I survive all of these things because I plan. And I constantly have a to-do list going.
Yeah.
And that to-do list has different compartments of all the different things. And I write things on my to-do list to be able to cross it off. I'm one of those people.
Love it. I like to do that too. But sometimes too, I like to visually see, like, I won't delete the crossed off things. I keep them in my computer. I use like the Evernote app. And I won't really delete my crossed off things until like it's something I can totally forget about. But that way I know, like, if it was like I'm supposed to email somebody or I'm supposed to follow up about something, sometimes I'm like, oh no, did I do that? But then I can look down my list and be like, yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's not just to make myself feel good about doing things, but sometimes it is.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Most of the time for me, it's just about feeling good about doing it. Because I feel like, gosh, I didn't accomplish any of the other 90 things on the list, but I did accomplish those 3 things. So that is exciting.
And I'm assuming your 4 children just fall right in line with the schedule, and this is what we're doing, and let's do it, and it gets done.
Yeah, your
Well-
1-year-old, like, she's a little soldier. Just
Well,
does what she's
she
supposed to do.
does. She does. It's quite magical. I mean, she just pops out of bed and gets her shoes on to, like, to just fly to the next thing that we do.
Let's do this day.
I am a big process mom, like, but I am a big, like, quick process. So, like, so I just have expectations for, like, when I say, like, come on, let's go, I want everybody out the door within, like, a 3-minute time span. And that means that, like, everyone's getting their own shoes on, everyone's getting out to the van. And then, too, the other part of it is some of those things, like today we did a play date at the park, and my number 2 forgot his water bottle at home because he opted to carry his dinosaur instead of his water bottle. And so I think another part of that is not only, like, do I have, like, very specific, like, okay, here we go, we're out the door, we're doing all these things, but I have, like, some pretty high expectations for them. And then I let them kind of have to suffer the consequences of not following through on that. So it sounds
So now
silly.
he won't forget his water bottle again.
Right. Well, he'll just realize that, like, that was something that we all took time to do, to get our water bottles and our snack before we went out the door. And now that's your responsibility. You're 5, and a 5-year-old needs to be able to be responsible for that. And it sounds silly. It sounds like something really small, but I think all those little times of being super consistent about all those aspects makes it that when I say, like, okay, Sheffel's out the door, then we get out the door because they realize, like, I'm walking out the door and you don't want to be lagging behind.
And I think there is some teacher in you who...
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
that's just ringing in my head when you see what it looks like for kids that haven't had the responsibility of doing those things. And I believe in natural
Right.
consequences very
Yeah.
much so. Good or bad, like, let's just pick up and figure out how to move on. So you have that
Right.
insight, I guess,
Yeah.
that I'm sure affects the expectations you have for your kids.
No,
Yeah,
and I
that's
didn't.
awesome.
Yeah, I didn't mention that. Like, I did. So I used to be a teacher. I mentioned it I did kind of mention it, I guess, in the Facebook Live video. So I did used to be a teacher in Harrisburg City School District. And I taught kindergarten. That was full day. And I would have up to, like, 25 kids with no aid.
God bless.
Wow.
So you have to be able to, like, it's a matter of survival. Like, I had to be able to get out the door, and I had to be, to get from point to point in school throughout the day. And in kindergarten, like, in teaching in elementary at any point in time, you're moving from subject to subject to subject. So if you're taking 20 minutes to switch from a carpet to a table in a classroom, you've lost half of your
Right.
day. Like, you've just got to be good at it. So I think that probably what makes me the kind of mom I am is probably because I taught in inner city Harrisburg. I honestly, like, think that it makes me, like, the mom that I am in a really good way. Like, I just think I have some good systems and processes because of having to do that.
And that's what's ringing in my head, just that it seems like you're very system oriented with your calendar.
That must
Yes.
be a teacher thing.
But it's helping you, and
Right.
and I'm sure you just feel like a lot of rest and peace having those systems in place.
Yes.
Rest in peace?
Rest and peace. Like,
Oh,
like
sorry.
you
You
can be
threw
calm
me for
in
a
that.
loop there.
No, that's-
You can be really calm
it's
in that.
calm. So what other, like, mom tips can you give
Yeah,
us?
can you tell me
when
about the
it's
mom bucks? Explain the mom bucks.
time to get out the door, but yes.
Okay, so I did a chore system this summer with my children because I had this moment where I have 2 sons. I have 2 sons, and I have 2 sons that are 7 and 5, and then I have a 3 and a 1-year-old, and the 2 youngest are girls, the 2 oldest are boys. And I had this moment where I realized my 7-year-old is probably capable of a lot more things within our house that I am making him do. And I'm not making him do it because it makes it so much harder on me to give extra time, because I'm a process mom, but I'm a quick process mom. So, like, I want to get this done and I want to get it accomplished and then move on. So I do the mom bucks for my. I did a system this summer for chores, and I paid my children with mom bucks. I started doing it because I felt like, as scary as it is, I'm thinking about my boys becoming young men someday, and someday very, very, very far away. And I just kind of feel like I'm not always good at letting my kids do things to be helpful, or requiring them to do things to be helpful, because I like things to be done efficiently. And a 7-year-old is not efficient. And that is a really hard. I know. No, it's terrible. But like, I am not like a baking or cooking mom. Like those moms who are like, oh my word, I made 800 dozen of these muffins. And bless your heart and soul if you are. And I apologize. I'm just not. I'm not. That like stresses me.
Well, yeah,
that
kids,
kind of.
It's like it would just be a huge mess.
Oh, it's just. I
didn't do it when I was single. No. Thank you.
No, me either. I was not a muffin making mom before, but anyway, so even more so not now. But I just kind of as I approached summer, I thought I really should just be more intentional about teaching my kids to do those kinds of things. So I came up with this whole system. I Pinterest like all different kinds of reward systems and chore systems, and I put all the things I liked about different ones together, and I made the Mom Bucks system. So basically, my kids had a list of things they had to do every day, and they got paid a certain amount for each of those things. So on my list were things like their morning chores, meaning making their bed, brushing their teeth, getting themselves dressed. They earned 1 mom buck for doing such things. Mm-hmm. Then, other things on our list.
Did they ever lose mom bucks?
Oh, yeah. I'm getting there. It's an intricate system. So there were several things on their mom bucks chore list that they had to do. And because it was summer and I have 1 first grader, I have 1 kindergartner, on their list of things to do were learning activities or reading or writing. My 7-year-old is really smart. He loves reading, but he battles me on it. So I feel like a chore system takes the battle off of me. I feel like instead of saying, I want you to do this because you need to do it because, blah, 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 the teacher in me says do it.
Yeah.
No, but if I say to him, if you don't do it, you don't get paid. It's like, gosh, I want to get paid. So I'm going to do all my chores. So they had several different things. And in that whole process, we also did zone cleaning this summer. So I know I kind of sound like
zone
a little
cleaning?
bit. I kind of sound like a little bit of a Nazi, but it was actually
a fly on the wall of you Pinteresting all these ideas.
Oh, I'm a mess. I'm a hot mess. All of these lists of what I want to put together. So zone cleaning is that basically the concept of zone cleaning is that you do 1 zone in your house per day in cleaning. So with my kids, zone cleaning looked like on Mondays we cleaned the living room and the dining room. On Tuesdays we cleaned the bathroom and the laundry room. And so we did that the whole way around our house with 1 day a week off. And they each had different chores to do in that room. So my 7-year-old is tall. So why not give him the vacuum? So my 7-year-old would vacuum.
I thought you were going to say he was dusting the tall shelves.
No.
Cobweb.
No, that was my 5-year-old. My 5-year-old was standing on chairs, dusting things standing on. We have a piano, so he was standing on the ledge of the piano to dust
oh my
top of
gosh.
it.
So safety may be lower on the list, but you were teaching them cleaning skills.
Absolutely.
I love this.
Natural consequences. Don't wear socks because then there's no traction.
You slip. If you would just be in your bare feet, you would stick to it much better.
They'll learn.
Much better.
And then dust your footprints off.
Yes, don't leave traces. Otherwise, you're not doing your job very well. So we would do that, and so we would all do that together. So if we were cleaning the living room, we would all be in the living room together, and they were each doing their different chores in the living room as I'm helping them to clean.
What would somebody like Finley do? Finley is her 3-year-old.
She is my 3-year-old, and she is my wildflower in a field of roses. She just dances and prances through everything she does. So she does the baseboards.
Oh, that's what I make Reagan do.
Because if she's terrible at it, which she is terrible at cleaning. She's terrible at wiping things. But it doesn't matter because the reality in my world is if she didn't wipe it ain't getting touched anyways. So it doesn't matter if she's so bad at it, which
there's only a chance to
and
win.
honestly, like just wiping it a little bit is better than not at all.
Better than what I was doing before that.
Yes.
So it works out fine. And she also would wipe down the chairs, like in our dining room. That was like, she was big. She was my big baseboarder because she could handle that. And she was my big chair wiper because she could handle that. Before she'd be like, oh, I'm just distracted by like my hair. My hair is on my face. Like she's so pretty, but she's just a little. She's not blonde, but she should be sometimes. So, and then they would get paid. So now the way the system works is if the next morning I pay them for all the things that they did. If they missed one, they can still get paid. If they miss two, they don't get paid for anything in the day.
Strict mom.
Oh, I am hardcore. And I printed out little like dollars.
Do they have your face on them?
They don't.
Because they're a mom buck?
They should. They should. No, it's a 1 or a 2.
Oh my gosh.
A 1 or
I
a
will
2.
Photoshop that for you.
So I would love that. I would love that. So then, so they get paid at the next morning. They get paid, but then they can't spend any money until they've done their chores for that day. So that's the other great part about it because I didn't want to have to battle my kids. We don't do like a ton of iPad time and we don't do a ton of cartoons, but we do some. And I feel like when my kids are home all day, they ask like, can we watch cartoons? Can we do this? Can we play on the iPad? And I feel like it just gives me a good way to manage it. So if you don't have your chores done, you can't buy anything. And buying things in my house this summer was you paid $3 mom bucks for a cartoon and you paid $6 mom bucks for 20 minutes of iPad time. And you paid $1 mom buck for a piece of candy. And
it was her kids' Halloween candy.
No, now I just finished selling Easter candy. Now we just got through the Easter candy. So
Perfect.
I actually needed to like,
I love it.
I do, because here's the thing. What do you do as a parent, right? Like as your kids get older, like Halloween candy. After like 3 days, you're like, oh my gosh, I am so tired of them asking me. You give it away or you throw it away. So I just turned it into this, like instead of it being about me having to say yes or no, it became this aspect of like you have to buy it. So like candy is $1.
And what do your kids gravitate towards for their rewards?
It's really funny. I should actually do a personality survey, like a personality test on this part alone. So my 3-year-old, who is my wildflower, she buys candy as soon as she has mom bucks. I mean, it cannot sit in her envelope long enough because can I buy a piece of candy? Her things she gravitates towards is a piece of candy or cartoon. Those are the things, as soon as she has enough money for that is what she wants. My older boys will save a little bit more money to get iPad time because they recognize like the beauty of that. But Finley, my 3-year-old, cannot keep money long enough to like get it. But my 5-year-old magically always has money. Like I don't know. Maybe he's stealing it from me. I don't know. He really is
not. He's taking Finley's.
I know.
That's why she can only buy $1.
I know. But what's funny is like he just always has money. And like my oldest and my 7-year-old and my 3-year-old, who have very similar personalities, don't have money for very long. But my 5-year-old, who has a very different personality, has money for longer. Okay. See, couldn't this be a whole, like...
This is really interesting.
I could call this like a Sheena-gram.
Instead of the Enneagram?
Yes!
You need to make your own Pinterest. This could go far. Give out free printables for the mom bucks.
I know.
Insert your face here.
Teachers pay teachers. Teachers pay teachers.
That's where the money is at.
Yeah, right.
What I love about this and what I feel like my mind gravitates towards, obviously, and what you've done in this system is like, what exactly do you want to pinpoint and how am I going to get there? Because I feel like there are so many systems for anything, not just behavior for your kids, but like scheduling for your family or getting things done at work. But it's like, what are we going to pinpoint and how do we work towards that? So even with you saying they have to do their chores for the day before they get their money, you thought through like, okay, what is that going to look like and how do we be as successful as we can be? And you've like catered your system to that.
And the other thing I really like about it is like, so for my oldest, it really pains him when I take money from him. So there are times that I'm like, you just lied to me. You owe me 5 mom bucks. Like, and it's nice because I just feel like it takes some of that. Like, don't we sometimes feel as moms, we constantly are nagging? Like, get this, do this, move this, sit here, stand up, sit down. Maybe you're not nagging Nora yet. Don't worry, you'll nag.
I have 20, whatever.
You do. You nag in the classroom, and it just feels like all you end up doing is like all day long saying these things over and over, and you feel like a bad person.
Oh, I feel terrible sometimes. I'm like, I've put you in like 4 timeouts because you just don't listen, and I've had to ask you like 6 times. And so you actually, Christine, helped me implement like a pom-pom system for Reagan.
Which is basically like that.
Similar to Mom Bucks, but very different because we don't really count yet.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it takes away the negotiation. Like you said with him, with reading, it was just based on the system and that was enough. And when you have it in place, safe and secure, whatever I said, peace and security that you thought, whatever I said before with a schedule. Rest in peace. But when you have a system like that, it also gives you like, just, okay, this is what it is, and I don't have to fight it every day.
Right.
And you don't have to nag. Yeah. You can just say, I'm taking a pom-pom away, or I'm taking Mom Bucks, or whatever.
Once I start a system, like once I start a chore system, I will give reminders for the first like 2 weeks. And then after that, I don't give reminders. So if at the end of the day, you have not, like you didn't do your morning chores, sad day. Like sad day for you, you don't get paid for that. And if you have 2 spots by the next morning on that you do not have accomplished, like, sad day for you, you don't get paid. Because the reality is, as adults, if you don't go to your job 2 days in a week, you don't get paid. Like, isn't that, aren't we, like, as parents, should we be training our children, like, to become successful independent adults someday?
Oh, I love that.
And it just, it starts early. And I think it starts earlier than what we sometimes want to think that it does, if that makes sense. Because it took a lot of work. Like, so my 7-year-old would wash dishes, and his goal was to get through all the dishes as quickly as possible. And he didn't always do a great job. So I would have to still check that and say to him, like, no, like you miss spots on these dishes. Like, you have to do them again. So it's not like I could just say, oh, great, you're doing dishes. I'm going to go, like, sit and have my coffee and prop my feet up. Like, it still was a lot of work. Obviously, like, zone cleaning with a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old in one room wasn't like I just sat and read Magnolia magazine. It was
that'd be fun, but
but I still, like, I had to help along. I had to manage. I had to be working with it. And that took a lot of slowing down for me. But I think it was a really good process because the other part that's really great about it is my kids notice things they wouldn't have noticed before. Like, my oldest will say, wow, I'm really glad I'm not on dishes today because there's a lot of dishes. Or he'll say, like, he'll, like, kind of measure up, like, oh, it's only to this part of the counter. I can be done in, like, not that much time. And or one of my other ones will say, like, we didn't put any laundry in today. Like, we probably should get the laundry started. So it's kind of fun.
They do laundry?
Oh, yeah, that's part of it.
My gosh.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, so
I'm amazed. Are you amazed?
Well, I would probably lean more toward that because in my classroom, granted, that's different than mom life, but it is like, well, you have to do it.
It's not that different. Like, you're just basically pretending to have to be someone's mom during the day.
But like when things fall or water bottle spills for the 8th time today, and they look at me, it was like, well, go get paper towels. That's not going to clean itself up. Right. Or they lose something. Well, that's not mine. I didn't lose it. Right. You lost your pencil. Like, figure it out. I'm not like going to crawl on the floor and find your pencil.
And I kind of think that, like, I kind of feel like there's this wave in mothering of, like, wanting to be so gentle all the time. And I think that it's not about being gentle. I think it's about finding a happy medium. Like, there are times that I'm gentle when, and when my 3-year-old has fallen or, wakes up from a nightmare. Like, there are times I'm gentle and there are times that I'm not and I'm firm. Like, when we were at the playground today and my 5-year-old came over to me and just said, Mommy, I'm so thirsty. Now, granted, I know in my mind I have a water bottle in the car. When we get to the car, I will share that with you. But he needed to feel that logical consequence for a little bit longer. And it sounds like something so small, but these are the things I feel like as a mother. These are the things that all build up together. That you're making this path, this aspect of, well, no, like, I'm not fixing everything along the way because there are some things that can just be your responsibility because you can handle it. Yeah. And I think the more that we let our kids handle, the more they're able to handle because we kind of, like, release those reins to them.
I love that. That's so true. I think that it kind of fosters independence in your kids. But like you said, you can't just be like, oh, well, you're supposed to do these things now. I think that when you start a new chore system or even this whole pom-pom thing.
Yeah.
I have to really be intentional about like, okay, if we're going to implement this, like I need to do my part and try to recognize things more.
It's a lot of
like,
work.
It's a lot of
Right.
like recognizing
Right.
like the positive stuff.
Yeah.
And I am trying to be just more noticing of stuff because I feel like sometimes I don't realize, like when I sat down with Christine and we talked this out, because I was like, look, I have had a rough couple of weeks with my kids. They're driving me crazy.
Yeah.
She was like, it's okay. In her practical way of doing things, she's
Yeah.
like, I'm very like, here's a problem. Let's find a solution. And it was so helpful. But I realized with all of these things we were going through, like, okay, I can't be like a lazy mom about it and just be like, okay, we're going to do
Right.
this and it's going to help like take care of itself.
Right.
Like, especially at this age, I realized like you have to do your part as a parent because they need you to at this age. So
You have to do your part and you have to do it consistently.
yes.
So, like, your response about something in one moment has got to be your response about the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, kids are so smart and they're so smart so early. So,
Yeah.
like,
That's what I told Rachel. I was like, Reagan can learn, Rowan, Nora will learn, hopefully to use their power for good, I said, and not be manipulative, but learn, like your kids are learning, oh, here's how we get the money.
Right.
So they're going to figure one thing out or the other. You want it to be like, here's how to be responsible, efficient, kind.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I think that, and that is a really, really hard part about parenting. It just is. It's hard to be consistent and to be consistent all the time because there are times that you're in the middle of doing something and you have to stop what you're doing to go over and, to come down on whatever, to talk to them about whatever they're doing that you want them to stop doing. So,
And something else that even just came to my mind when you were sharing about your zone cleaning. I don't know if it feels this way, but I was just picturing all of you in like this room together and what we were sharing earlier about like you love community. You're building that within your family. Like your kids are spending time together and I'm sure there's the occasion where they might compliment each other, but that's obviously such a part of your behavior system too, is like, let's be together on this as a family and we're in this together. You are in there with them.
well, and it makes them take ownership early on. Like that it's not just all my job and all my responsibility because it's a house that we all live in. And like, I've had, like, have there been mornings that one of them has said like, oh, I don't really feel like cleaning today? Absolutely. And I've said, you're right. I don't feel like cleaning either. But the thing is, like, it's our house and we made it dirty and we need to clean it. And I don't feel like doing laundry today, but you keep wearing those clothes and I've got to wash them.
I told that to Nora because she had like, a little bit of a blowout the other day. I was like, listen, it's time to learn. Like, let's do laundry.
One outfit per. Or
you're just,
throw
in
it
a
in.
diaper.
Get that Tide Pod going.
Come on. Well, Sheena, thank you for the wealth of information you just shared.
I feel like she's just got all these like little
pro.
nuggets.
Yeah.
Like so much wisdom as a mom.
Aw, you girls are too kind.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing this. And I don't often, I'll say this, like to listen back to the podcast because I get like weirded out by hearing my own voice again. But I'm going to listen to this one, if not when it comes out, in a year when Nora needs me to remember all of your wisdom.
We can have this conversation. It's fine.
Perfect,
It's
because
fine.
I'll need it a few times, I'm sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us and
Thanks for
sharing
having me.
your wisdom.
Yeah. And
And
Sheena, where can people find you if they would want to get connected with you? Are you
Right
on
now,
social media?
right now I'm at your table.
here we are.
Right now. No, I am.
Find her at my house.
Yes. So yes, I am on Instagram as just, I think, Sheena Sheffel. I don't really even know what my name is. Is that weird?
No, I think a lot of people forget because you don't see your own name, you see everybody
No,
else.
I think I'm just Sheena Sheffel, like all
Perfect.
together.
Yep.
Well, we'll
Maybe,
share that.
right?
There you
I
go.
tagged
Yes.
you in one of our posts today.
Perfect.
That's what I came up as. So yes, I'm that, and I'm also Sheena Sheffel on Facebook. I'm really not that too crazy about it.
But that's
too
great.
crazy exciting. But
It's a
so
beautiful
find
name.
me. Thank you.
Go find her, connect with her, especially if you want to ask her more questions about all the things she shared. Obviously, Sheena has a heart for women and moms. And I mean, I've only known you for a year and I can't even count the times that you were intentional and just spoke so much life and encouragement into me and my like first year as a mom. So
Yeah, and she's just a good resource if you are somebody that lives in the area and you want to find a way to get plugged in and get connected.
Yeah.
Even if you can't attend the moms group that she leads because it is during the daytime. she would probably be a great resource to help you get connected with a small group or something like that.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I remember I came to you almost crying one time. I think when I needed
did.
a small group.
That was a long time
probably a couple years ago now.
I feel like a lot of people probably come to you.
Yeah,
It's okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
it's great. You were like a safe space. I felt like I could be upfront with you. And I had a little bit of postpartum going on with Reagan and was like really emotional. And it was like a rough patch. And I was like, I just like feel like I need a small group. And she was like, you can be in mine. It's okay.
Yeah.
And that meant
it was
like
good.
so much to me because I just needed like an outlet. Like I didn't have any other mom friends at the time. So it was just so meaningful to me. And it just changed my parenting. It changed how I felt as a mom to feel like I had that support group. So yeah, if you don't take anything away from this episode, learn about mom books and
Find friends.
find some other mom friends.
Yes. True story.
Well, thanks for joining us. I hope you had fun.
I did. Such a good time.
Your podcast. Awesome. Well, thank you all for joining and listening. And moms, in case no one told you yet today, you are doing amazing.
Thank you so much for listening today. You are a part of a growing community of moms, business owners, and women who are here to encourage and inspire. You can connect with Rachel at Rachel Klein Creative on Instagram or rachelkleincreative.com. To keep up with Christine and her latest events, follow her business journey on Instagram at Bellenberry Co. And if you want to be first to know about upcoming guests and giveaways, sign up for the Thrive Podcast email list today. Simply visit rachelkleincreative.com/The Thrive Podcast or follow at The Thrive Podcast on Instagram. If you've enjoyed listening this week or you've already added our show to your favorites playlist, we'd love for you to write us a review on iTunes. Your support and positive feedback allows us to keep encouraging moms and business owners each week.